Hey guys, just want to show you like the basic strategy for testing that I found is the best. You definitely need like one of these test kits. These are very accurate, right? You need to get like accurate readings sometimes so you know like how much stuff you got to add or whatever. But these are kind of expensive. This kit is like 25 bucks, and these individual things sometimes can be like 10 or $12. Like they're fairly expensive. So, and they go kind of fast. So you don't want to use this all the time. I made that mistake for the first like 7 years I was here. You definitely want to use test strips. So I have this like basic test strip I use like if I need every day, which has chlorine, alkalinity, and pH, right? And then I have this more detailed one that also has like cyanuric acid, hardness, some more chlorine readings that I use a little more frequently. And then when I need really specific readings, like if your pH, maybe you can't tell between 6.8 and 7.2, the color on this, then you should go like use your test kit and find out if it's low or not, so you know to add like acid or whatever you have to add. And this has really good descriptions of like how to do the tests in here, and I'll show you some. Quick thing on pool chemistry, phosphates are also really bad. They cause algae, alright? Phosphates come from peeing in the pool, from like laundry detergent, from clothing, so don't jump in the pool with regular clothing on, because laundry detergents, I believe a lot of them still have phosphates. So you might want to get a phosphate test to check that sometimes if you have algae, especially later in the season when the water gets warmer. It's like more unstable and a lot of weird stuff starts happening. The beginning of the season when it's cold, you'll be fine. You'll be like, oh, everything's great. But once it gets above 80, this all depends on your environment. This is all very subjective. But once it gets above 80, things start going like awry. So read the instructions on your test strips. Mine says put it underwater 6 inches for about 2 seconds, and then read it immediately. Give it a shake, read it immediately. Got to always read the instructions on these things because, they all vary. Okay. And so I'm reading this immediately. My alkalinity is pretty high. Like I put in a lot of baking soda at the beginning of the season because it's usually very low. So I'm not really that worried about that. It usually comes down. My pH is fine. My chlorine is really low, like my free chlorine, because I just have a really difficult time keeping that level up in my pool. So because my chlorine's low, I'm just usually adding like some liquid bleach every day. For these, like, don't get the kind that has like weird things added to it, like different features of Clorox. Just get the basic bleach, and I mix it in a bucket of water to dilute it a little bit before I pour it in, and make sure you pour it in the deep end, especially if you have a vinyl liner pool. You can get shock, like they have shock at like Leslie's or the pool stores, and mixed shock. It's maybe more concentrated, maybe a little better. I just find this easier. The chemicals in the store are so expensive. It's like 150 bucks for a little bucket, and this stuff is like $8 for a bottle, and it's pretty much the same thing. So I just go there and get like Clorox. If your alkalinity is low, they have like alkalinity up. If you take a look at this though, you'll see that the primary ingredient, the main thing it has, is sodium bicarbonate, which, as you know, is just baking soda. So I just go to like Home Depot and get this stuff. They have it all there, and it's usually less. The pool store usually charges more for this bucket than per unit than this is. So yeah, baking soda. So the only other chemical I don't have here is sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate just raises your pH and not your alkalinity. So you can get that at the pool store. It'll be like pH up or pH plus. So yeah, you just need to, there's a lot of videos out there on what to do in certain situations, and the books tell you. So I just wanted to show you these couple items. I have low chlorine, so I'm putting in bleach. If I had low pH, I would put in probably some of the baking soda, maybe get sodium carbonate, but usually my alkalinity and my pH go down at the same time, so I just put the baking soda in, and that keeps it pretty close. And then yeah, the other stuff like cyanuric acid, there's special things for that. Hardness, phosphates, there's phosphate remover, it's called phos free or no phos. Those are kind of expensive. And then, yeah, if your phosphates are high, you probably have algae. There's like algicides, algae control, algae removers. Those are all just mostly at the pool store. So yeah, I'm just gonna add some bleach to this bucket of water. It really doesn't matter. Like, if you had a party or you're going to have a party and there's going to be a lot of people in the pool, you might want to add a little extra. I'm just adding some because there were people here yesterday and today. I want to make sure the level's high so that the water is being sanitized. Yeah, so you want to pour this in the deep end. I usually try to pour it against the flow, against the current, so here you go. And last thing is, go to the pool store and get a free test. Like Leslie's does a free test and they could tell you like exactly what to do. I mean, you don't have to buy like $300 in chemicals. You probably just need to worry about the alkalinity with baking soda and the chlorine and the pH. Like, bleach and baking soda is going to cover like 90% of what you do pretty much, to keep your balance.